This is a recap of Monday, October 26th. We started week 6 Cami. The target is subtract real numbers. So we filled in the words subtraction. So turn the subtraction into an addition problem, or turn the subtraction symbol into an addition symbol by adding the opposite. This will give us an equivalent addition problem. And then follow the rules for adding positive and negatives to determine the sum. So we talked a little bit about how when we were adding integers, then we talked about having a positive plus more positive, like in yellow representing positive, makes even more positive. It just smushes it all together. So we get 2 plus 5 is equal to 7, or 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. So this amount plus that amount gives us even more. Positive plus positive is even more positive, but if we have a small amount of negative, then we add that with a larger amount of positive, that subtracts some of it, that a zero pair kind of can be seen where the negative and the positive cancel each other out, and so you end up with a smaller amount. So this circle is smaller than that circle, but it's still positive. And this is a useful way of thinking about adding and even adding negatives. And then we had a negative plus a negative is even more negative. So this is useful, but not if it's subtraction. And we didn't really use the model for subtraction that much. We did maybe briefly have, if we take a positive amount and we take away some of that positive, that it is less, it's going to be a smaller circle and it's still going to be positive. But then we didn't really, we went over it a little bit, but not really emphasizing this model, because this can get, for some students, pretty confusing. If we have a negative amount, and then let's say we take a large positive amount away from that became questionable to think about. So we didn't, here I'll just hit erase. So we talked about in class today that we didn't really use those models for subtraction, and it turns out to be okay, because we're going to take subtraction, and view it as addition. So let's take negative 6 1/3, and instead of subtracting, we're going to add a negative 2 1/2. And the key to this is that the first number stays the same, and the second number, we find the opposite of it. The opposite of 2 1/2 is negative 2 1/2. So this is negative 19/3 plus a negative 5/2. Our common denominator is 6, so we're going to double this to negative 38/6. We're going to triple this to negative 15/6. The answer is going to be in sixths. And then we're combining a negative 38 with a 15. That means that we need to combine them together to get 53. And it's negative, so it's negative 53. And that's going to simplify. 53 divided by 6 is 8 with 5 left over. So it equals negative 8 5/6. And we broke this down into 5 steps. Adding the opposite, writing as improper fractions, finding a common denominator, adding the numerators, and then changing a improper fraction back to a mixed number. So really 5 steps. So if you're going to ask a question, you can refer to those 5 steps. And then we discussed that this problem right here is the same as this one right here. So we'll do this one. And that's going to be negative 4/9 plus a negative 3/9 is equal to negative 7/9. That means this answer is equal to negative 7/9. This is going to be 1/4 plus a positive 1/2. And we talked about that just didn't feel like that's going to be the answer. It just seemed that 3/4 couldn't be the answer. And so we have to sometimes convince ourselves that this is the correct answer, that these are the same problems. Yes, this is 1/4 and that's 1/4, and we're going to add the opposite and it does work. So it's not that the answer is correct, it just doesn't seem correct. And so that just takes experience and understanding. Negative 3/4 plus 1/3. That's going to be negative 9/12 plus 4/12. And that's going to equal negative 5/12. So it's nice to box in your answers so that you can see them. And then let's do 2 more. This is negative 7/2 plus a negative 9/4. So I did 2 steps at once. I changed it to a mixed number and I changed it, or improper fraction, and I changed addition to subtraction. I combined 2 of those steps. And then this is going to be negative 14/4 plus negative 9/4, and that's equal to negative 23/4. 4 goes in there 5 times with 3 left over. And we played a game of Kahoots, and I noticed quite a few people missed a problem that looked like this. So let's take a look at this. 5 plus a negative 2 1/3. 5 plus negative 7/3. 15/3 plus negative 7/3. And that's going to be more positive than negative. So 8/3 or 2 2/3. Okay, that's as far as we got on the Kami today. I'm going to go to the bottom of this and do the 7 problems that we did on Kahoot. So I'm just going to add a page here, 1 blank page. And here are the 7 problems that we did on Kahoot. Problem number 1 was 1/2 plus 3/4. That's going to be 2/4 plus 3/4. That's equal to 5/4. 5 divided by 4. 5 goes in once, 4 goes in once, and there's 1 left over. So that's equal to 1 1/4. Problem number 2 was 7/8 plus 1/4. That's 7/8 plus, and we'll double this to 8, so we'll double the numerator to 2. So that's 9/8. 8 goes into 9 once with 1 left over. The third problem on our Kahoot game today was 2 1/2 plus 1 1/3. So we could combine the 2 and the 1 to 3. And then we're going to combine the 1/2 plus 1/3. And we're going to use a common denominator. We'll triple this to 3/6, and we'll double this to 2/6. So combined together, that's 5/6. We'll put that back together with our whole 2 plus 1, and it's 3 and 5/6. Problem number 4 was 5/6 minus 1/3. We're going to change the thirds to 6, so that's 5/6 minus, we double this to 6, that means we double this to 2, and that's 5 minus 2, or 5 plus a negative 2, either way. We get 3/6. There's more positive than negative, so the answer is 1/2. The fifth problem was 1 minus 3/8. So we could change 1 to 8 and just have 8/8 plus a negative 3/8. That's one way to do it, and we would end up with 5/8. The other thing we could do is draw a picture. And this is 8/8, and if we eliminate 3 of those, we end up with 5/8 left. The sixth problem was 5 minus 2.5. And what we could recognize on this is that 2.5 is half of 5. So 2.5 plus 2.5 is equal to 5. So just thinking about addition, we could get to the answer on that one of 2.5. And the seventh problem that we did was a word problem, and it said somebody needed a 1/2 cup of sugar, and they also needed 1/3 of a cup of sugar. How much did they need? And it was, the choices were less than 1/2, more than 1/2, or more than 1 cup. Put C's there for cups. We know that it's not this one, because we know he needs this and this. And if we add these together, we get 3/6 plus 2/6 is 5/6, so we don't need more than that. So the answer was you needed more than a 1/2 cup. So more than 1/2 cup sugar. And that is a recap for Monday, October 26th.